Charlie, how did you get a sense from the people on the lake what they wanted to see preserved?
Well, we did a number of things to get their ideas. We ran several workshops with the people and with the resorts as well. And probably more importantly, we ran a survey last summer, a year ago. And we got just tremendous response.
And this is everybody on the lake had a chance to complete the survey?
And including the resorts. The resorts had their own survey, the residents had their survey. And we've got valuable information from those surveys.
Okay, and so you got a really good sense then of what they like about the lake.
Yes.
Okay, and then you're able to take all of this, all of these ideas of what should be protected about the development issues and elements that you've got to take a look at, and narrowed it down to in 7 categories, right?
And trying to pick the ones with the highest priorities, of course.
Okay.
So that we could focus and work on them.
So 7 target areas?
7 target areas.
Okay, well, why don't we go take a look at each of those?
Perfect. Well, dealing with water quality, we traditionally think of phosphorus loadings in septic systems. This is turbidity. This is silt that has washed off a construction site and has now smothered all those nooks and crannies, the rocks and the downwoody debris, and fish cannot breed in that type of environment.
So water quality then, which is your target number 1, isn't just your phosphorus levels that you were talking about, but things like this, turbidity.
Exactly.
So it's silt then you want to prevent happening.
That's right.
And that's all runoff? It's all stormwater management?
Stormwater management, and it's following proper construction mitigation practices when you're actually exposing the soils on your site before you put in the foundation. The silt screen that's put along the edge is really a great example of how to mitigate the soil impact. That black curtain, as well as the straw bales, are there to help stop the silt from running into the water.
Oh, I see. We've come to number 2, appropriate economic and property development, because this must be so difficult on this lake with all these resorts here. How many resorts are there altogether?
There are 7 resorts on this lake.
So that's big economic development happening on this lake.
But they are a partner of this lake. And what came out of the survey was that the same elements that the people living here identified, quiet, beauty, natural aesthetics, they are the exact same things that the resorts are identifying as being important.
Really?
One resort operator actually said, we probably have more of an economic stake in the health of this lake. The reason is because the properties are worth millions.
But then why is it a target if you think all the resorts are in line?
We want them to remain viable so they can stay in business. And to do that, some will have to expand a bit. And of course, if they do that, we want them to do that within the character of the lake that we like. And not everyone is happy that we have resorts on the lake, but they've been here, some of them have been here a lot longer than we have. And they are part of the character of the lake.
This is great. This is an island?
That's Grass Island.
Well, I can see why it's called Grass Island. That's about all that's on it.
It doesn't look like much, but there's actually a loon nesting site on that island.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? We can't see them right now, though. I guess they're probably off swimming about. So this fits into target number 3, which is maintenance of natural habitat.
That's right.
Okay. So this is an area that you've identified as people being concerned about.
Well, loons are really an important part of this lake, the sound of them.
They're an important part of every cottage lake.
Absolutely. One of the things that cottagers or lake residents really aren't aware of is the streams, is the water that flows into it, the lake. They're always focused on the shoreline out into the lake.
Never pay any attention to them at all. Are there a couple of streams on this lake, Charlie?
There sure are, 21 of them.
21 streams?
Yep, 21 that are on the map.
Oh, my goodness.
There are other water courses that aren't.
So you really have to pay attention to those. Okay, well, let's go take a look at another one. What are all these posts along here?
This is the remains of an old dock that was used by the steamship that used to travel from Huntsville through Ferry Lake, through this canal, through into Penn Lake, and then over to the North Portage.
And they would stop here, too?
So they would stop along here, drop mail, pick up people, and so on. So that's what this was used for. There were several of these docks on the lake.
And we've got a bridge going across. Now, that's a new development.
It used to be an old iron bridge. It was replaced by the District of Muskoka, I believe, about 2 decades ago.
So again, this would be something you want to keep an eye on when this type of thing was happening on your lake.
Right.
What do we see?
This is an example of a natural shoreline. These people actually won an award from the Muskoka Heritage Foundation for maintaining a natural shoreline.
Okay, so this is target number 7, maintain natural shoreline. But I mean, this is really quite dense, isn't it?
It is.
Is this what everybody should be doing?
Hopefully, this is the objective that we're setting.
Well, taking a look over there, though, we've got a cleared frontage, I guess, to be able to look out at the lake a little bit, and a lot of people do that. Is that a bad thing?
Well, it's kind of in between, because what they've done is they've only opened up a very narrow spots to open up their view to the lake.
Right.
And this is very good. We'd encourage people to do that, as opposed to planting, cutting down all the trees and planting sod.
I'm planting sod.
Yeah.
So even if you do clear out a few trees, try to keep the natural growth below a little bit.
And the natural growth also applies to what's below the water. What's important is that we leave the substrate alone, that all the nooks and crannies from the down woody debris, the rocks and all this thing, this is what provides habitat for the fish.
So you've got all of this down here now. Now, number 5 was protection of landscape and aesthetics, and that was Wolf Mountain, as we talked about. Noise and lighting, that's part of it too, is it?
You're a good one on that, Randy.
That's often a difficult one to talk about, because a lot of new people on the lake like lighting, because it's like the city.
Right.
And how do you talk to people about making sure that the lighting is low, that it's down at ground level, and it's not focusing out on the lake? It has a major impact on everybody else living on the lake.
And you can still see the stars.
Yeah, so, well, that's why, right? You want to be able to have a nice black night sky. And improve social life is number 6. I love that one. It seems to be a big part of the lake, and I don't think that's a problem here, is it?
Not at all. Not at all. Lots of social activity.
Lots of social activity.
As I said a while ago, starting with bridge, that's what introduced us to the lake when we came here.
Aha, so you'll keep up the bridge
Oh,
front.
absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you taking me on the tour. Thank you very much for
Our
that.
pleasure.
And it was nice to identify now some of the targeted areas. But from this comes action.
Right.
Right?
The real work.
The real work.
Real work.
So I'm going to have to find out a little bit about that. Who should I go see?
Well, I think probably Pat Doyle is our best expert on that. She has all the project team leaders picked out, and she can tell you all about that.
So she's the lady looking to the future.
She is.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very much, Linda.
Pat, we had a wonderful tour of Penn Lake. Got to see some of the activities that might be happening in the future, and I know that you're going to be involved in that. But let's go back a little bit, because you've been helping to coordinate some of the people efforts in making this all happen. Because, I mean, none of this can happen without people on the lake, right?
Yes.
Has it been difficult to do? I mean, you know, cottagers like to come up and sit, so how do you get everybody going?
Well, we were surprised ourselves. We had a great response to the survey that we started in 2000. And we divided the lake into 7 sections and had a neighbor in that section be in charge of conducting the survey. And we had an incredible response. 184 completed surveys came back.
And now comes the implementation. I know you're on this committee,
Yes.
too. So do you foresee any problems starting up? What were there, 20 projects?
20 projects.
Outlined?
Yes, outlined initially.
Oh, my
5
goodness.
involving land use, and the 15 more stewardship education type concerns.
So you have to pick and choose which ones you want to
Yes,
start with, I'm
yes.
sure. Have you done that?
Yes, we did. It was a matter of picking the important ones that we start on this year, as well as the interest on the lake. So it was a combination. We had to, from the survey and from different discussions, we could see where the people were buying in. And
So
those
start
were
there
the
where their
projects.
interest
Exactly.
is, and then build up from that. As you've mentioned, the buy-in is very important, because
Yes.
this project seems to be so based on stewardship and people taking ownership that are involved, you know, who really value the lake and want to see it be like this, you know, forever and ever and ever. So, well, good luck with it.
Thank you
I
very
hope it
much.
goes well for you, and I hope you can keep those people involved.
I think we'll be okay.
Good for you. Hope you enjoyed watching today's show and maybe got some ideas on how you could do the same thing on your lake if you're concerned about its future and the value to you and the generations coming.